All right, everybody. It looks like there's like 5 of you on. Hopefully others will join. A bunch of people said they were going to. Who knows? I will take the advice of people who know better, and next time try not to stream it this high. From my point of view, it looks actually fairly low resolution, but hopefully, like last time, I won't drop too many frames and you guys won't miss out on too much. First and foremost, welcome to Plague Class number 2. We're going to do flow drills and stuff like that. If there's any drills that you're like, oh, I kind of remember this one, and you want to do it, let me know. I guess the second thing is, how many of you have your swords and are doing it with me? If you could just leave that in the chat, that'd be super. Nobody? I hear crickets. All right, fair enough. Okay, then you just get to watch my pretty face, I suppose. Alrighty, so we'll start with the super basic ones, just whoever's doing it with or not, just to kind of, warm up your wrists. And then from there, we'll go into the slightly more complex ones. Sound good? So the first bunch that we're going to do, we'll do the infinity cuts because they're super straightforward, and even if you have a low ceiling, you could probably do them with minor modifications. So all of you should know what the infinity cuts are, and I'll step back and do single oberhaus first. So remember, they look like an infinity sign, and they'll be from above. So you're cutting Zornhau, Zornhau, Zornhau. And remember, you're trying to cut in through the shoulder and out through the opposite hip. So the important part here is to maintain that nice X, because otherwise you're practicing cuts that aren't really useful. You're practicing cuts that are too flat or just won't do any good. So I'm going to step back there and go through a handful of them. So remember, this can be done, or this is done, I should say, with your feet standing at a horse stance. So you should be fairly relaxed. I'm actually going to turn the computer and step that way so I don't hit my light, because that would be bad. Try this again. All right. There we go. All right. So you should be about shoulder width apart. And remember that you are cutting, so you want to go through that nice extended long point. So oberhau, roll up, or Zornhau, roll up, Zornhau, roll up, and so on and so forth. And remember, you should be using your bottom hand to push the sword through the cuts. You should be able to do this one-handed with your top hand, just by rolling your wrist. But it's your bottom hand that gives you a little more oomph. And if you remember from the beginner's class, you can do these really big, you can do these shoulder width. You can do these elbow width, which is about medium sized. And you can do these wrist sized. I'll turn around. You can, watch my butt, I guess. Those are your basic single oberhaus. Those you can do from above, you can do from below. So we can do single unterhaus. So remember, it's the same thing, except that you're doing unterhaus. You want to try and maintain that X, and you're coming from below. So your cuts are now up, and up, and up, and up. And these are all long edge for right now. You can do short edge, but you'll hate yourself. So let's do long edge to unterhaus. So you can start in Nebenhut of your choice and roll up to ox. Try not to hit your ceiling. Go down to Nebenhut, roll up to ox. Again, your back hand or your bottom hand should be doing the majority of the work. How's that sound? Alrighty, hopefully none of you can hear my computer whirring beyond belief. Yeah, you gotta be real careful about that unterhau rolling around. I actually pulled mine a little so it could kind of come up and over my head. So just be careful. All right, so from there, we're gonna go back and do oberhaus, but we're gonna do the double oberhaus. So remember, for this one, you're still making that infinity cut, right? But now what you're gonna do is you come to your first one, stop, come back around, and then go through. You come through, stop, go back around, come through. So you stop in long point, go around, go through. Stop at long point, go back around, go through. Like that, okay? So remember, maintain that X, you're still going in through the shoulder, out through the opposite hip. And it's important to get your long point nice and stretched out, because otherwise your elbows will get in the way of the rolling that you have to do halfway through the cut, okay? Again, in a nice horse stance, feet about shoulder width apart. So these are singles, and then to convert them to doubles, you stop at long point, go back around, go through. Stop at long point, go back around, cut through. Stop at long point, go back around, cut through. Make sure to maintain that nice X, because again, you are trying to cut somebody. And so on and so forth. Do you guys need any extra angles on that? Would you like to see it from behind? Would that be helpful at all? Nope. Okay. All right, super duper. So question for you guys. Can you actually hear the computer fan whirring? Because I imagine that'd be really an irritating noise. Oh, that's good, because I can hear it. All right, as long as you guys can't hear it, I'm super chill with that. As you can see, wrong solo. I'm repping our our good friends up in Pennsylvania today, the Pennsylvania Klopfechter. They are superb, and when we can travel places again, you should go see them for Klopferfest if they're holding it, because it was supposed to be in June, I think, this year. But if we're all out of this by then, you should absolutely go to Klopferfest. It's amazing. All the Kloppies. All right, so we did double obers, so we're gonna do double unters now. Same thing, your long point should be extended, but of course, because it's inverted, if you extend it too far, you end up with your hands in a really awkward position. You have to end up like this, and not like this. This is good, your wrists are more or less straight, you've got the room to move the sword around. This, you'll bang into everything. So, don't do that. All right, I'm going to step back there again. All right, again, you're going to come from unterhau and go up to ost. So these are singles. And then you can go to doubles, up and around and through. Up and around and through. Up and around and through. Again, the sword should be rolling pretty heavily in your top hand. Your top hand shouldn't be moving a whole lot. It should be your bottom hand propelling the sword through the cut. So remember, your top hand is stability and control. So you want your sword to be nice and stable as it's coming around. It's your left hand that provides the oomph in this case. Alrighty. So, those are your 4 basic infinity cuts. Infinity cut drills, single oberhau long edge, double oberhau long edge, single unterhau long edge, and and double unterhau long edge. You can do these short edge, though they feel different. They almost feel like you end up doing a ribbon cut. Alrighty, so what I'm going to move on to next, I don't think I've taught in class in quite some time, it's called the Meyer 16 cuts. I should have done this better and grabbed a Meyer Square that I know I have in the house, but I didn't. Hopefully in the resulting video I can add the Meyer Square into the video so you guys can see what's going on. So the Meyer 16 cuts is exactly what it says. It's a drill that consists of 16 cuts. You may have seen the picture online. It's a cross, and then there's numbers on the diagonals, 4 numbers each, 1 through 4, and they're in weird different orders. The way Meyer squares work is you follow where the number is where you start your cut. So the very first cut, and on newer Meyer squares, ones that people have made more modernly, typically they'll highlight the 1, so they'll make it red or some other color. So the first one is in the upper right corner, and the accompanying 2 is on the lower left corner. So we start from the upper right, we cut down to the 2 position, because that's where we have to start our next cut. And then 2 returns, because you're starting your cut there and it goes back the other direction. The next number we have to find is 3, which is the lower right. So you come from here, over here, to down here, you cut up because 4 is now over here, and you cut back. All the cuts, 1 and 2 are paired, 3 and 4 are paired, so they'll always be like this to each other. So it's 16 cuts, and the reason the Meyer Square is very handy is you can use them in a lot of different ways. Meyer specifically says that you have to do long edge, short edge, inside and outside flat, because he does differentiate between the two. And on top of that, you should be able to do the cuts from any guard. So if you want to start from Schrankut, for instance, you should be able to start from there. You should be able to do this drill and end back in Schrankut, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to do the long edge cuts, just so you get the idea of what it looks like. And then for you more advanced people hanging on out there that maybe already know this, I will do the short edge cuts. So the first 4, so that you have an idea of what's going on if you've never seen this before, come upper right quadrant, lower left quadrant. 3 is lower right quadrant, 4 is upper left quadrant. And then the numbers kind of rotate around. You'll see me pause in the middle of it. That's because that's where the first set of 8 stops and the second 8 begin. They are the same thing, but reverse of the first set. So the cut that transitions between cut 8 and 9 is a little odd because you're trying to get from, I forget exactly where it is now, but it makes your life a little difficult. So I'm going to step back there. Oh, I should note there is footwork. It's fairly straightforward. You can do a box step, you can march forward, you can march backwards. The important part is, of course, taking 1 step for every cut. So, like I said, I'm going to do long edge variety. There will be 16 cuts. I will try to do it slowly, but I've been doing this for a long time, so I apologize if I speed up, but I will try my damnedest not to. All right. I'll try my damnedest not to hit a light. I'm going to start in shoulder rump dog, my least favorite guard, because otherwise I hit the ceiling. All right, so cut 1, cut 2, cut 3, cut 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I'm going to do that all again, pointing this way. One, 2, 3, and I messed up. I was thinking too hard. Start over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have to go over here. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So that is the Meyer 16 cuts or the 4 square drill, whichever you prefer. I'm now going to go ahead and do it short edge. For those of you that can follow along or have seen a Meyer Square before, that'll be a lot easier. If you've never seen one before, don't bother paying attention. Alrighty, let's see if I can't screw this up on camera. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's right. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 14, 15, 16. Hopefully that'll help. I'm not going to bother doing the inside or outside flats right now, in part because I haven't practiced which one's which, and in part because you're probably never going to use it. Alrighty, so, like I said, I will try to get up a Meyer Square in the video, so that will make a lot more sense to people. Alright, so, now I'm gonna move on to the 4-in-1 drill that we teach in the beginner's class. If you've forgotten it or you're not familiar, the 4-in-1 drill is named because you have 4 cuts in one plane. And of course, one plane is one angle. So if you're righty, your first 4 cuts all come from your dominant side. They're going to come from your right side. And they will all be right-angled cuts. So from the right, I realize this is reversed, but my right, from the right to the left. And all of them will be in this angle, every single one of them. People have a tendency to switch the angle of number 4, in part because it's a good idea. When you're fighting for real, the combination that 3 to 4 makes is a very common one, and a lot of people do it, 3 on the right, 4 on the left. Because again, it's a very common combination. And it feels much more natural, which is kind of the point of this drill. A couple of the cuts do not absolutely feel natural. But a lot of people never expect that you're going to cut 2 cuts from the same side. So you can really use that in your favor. And again, like I explained in the beginner's class, you're not necessarily going to use this entire drill in a fight, because that'd be kind of silly, but you absolutely will use parts of it. You know, if you want to chamber 2 and 3 together, or 1 and 2, or, you know, any number of those things, knowing that you can cut all 4 cuts from one side is incredibly valuable. So, that being said, I'm going to step back there, and when I do it sideways, I'm going to turn this way, so that way you guys can actually see my entire right side as I'm doing it. Another note, there is only one step in this drill. It's on cut number 2, the long edge. This drill goes short edge, long edge, short edge, and there's one step, and it's for cut 2. So you never step again. All right, I'm gonna head back there. All right, so start in a good stance, left foot forward if you're a righty. I'm doing this from the right side. I can do it from the left if you guys want me to. So again, I normally start in high bump tug, but I don't want to hit my ceiling. So I'm going to start in shoulder bump tug. Cut 1, remember, it's all on this angle, from my right to my left. So cut 1 is a short edge cut to right ox. Cut 2 is a long edge cut with the step here. Cut 3 is going to come all the way around my head and cut down on this angle so that it's right to left, or right to center in this case. I'm going to take my tip, roll it past my right shoulder, and cut my last long edge cut. So all together is 1, step 2, round the world, 3, drop it past your shoulder, long edge 4. So I'm going to turn this way and try not to hit anything. So cut 1, step cut 2, short edge 3, roll it past my shoulder, cut 4. Because I think you guys might find it useful, I'm going to actually turn around and show you what it looks like from there. So, cut 1, cut 2, cut 3, cut 4. All right, so that's on the right side. there is actually another side to this. This is a two-sided drill. We just never get there often. So, on the left, it's the exact same thing except mirrored. So now we're cutting exclusively left to right. So in through the left shoulder, out through the right hip, ideally, although on some of these short edge cuts it's going to be in through the left shoulder and to about the sternum. Okay, I'm going to step back there and then I will show you how they connect, because they do. So if you're doing the left side ones, you're going to want to start with your right foot forward. So cut one into left ox, step, left oberhau, or left zornhau, 3, short edge cut from left to right, drop this past your left shoulder, and cut a zornhau from left to right. So, all together, remember right foot forward, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? I'm going to turn that way. Hit anything. 1, 2, 3, 4. And one more time. Let's see if you can't get my shoulders on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alrighty. So they do connect. They actually connect at the bottom. The bottom of number 4, your cut ends on the side. So that means you can roll that back up into the opposite side short edge cut, like this. So I'm going to start on my right and move to the left one. I'm going to do it as slowly as I can manage, with you seeing me. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Through here, you follow your thing down, or your cut, and then roll over into the opposite side ox. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Roll up and into here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and roll up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alrighty. Is that helpful for you guys? Can you follow that pretty easily? Is anybody out there? Silence. Silence in the void. Ah, there you are. All right. So, I think last but not least for today, because that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'll be 8 drills. That'll be a good start for today. So last but not least, I will do what we call tumbling. And I don't think we've taught this one in the beginner's class in a long while because it seems to really confuse people. Oops, shit. It'd be great if my sword didn't knock over my computer. Yeah, me and you both. My shoulder is a little on fire. Not since moving, but, you know, since this isolation thing began. All right, so tumbling. What we call tumbling, I don't know why. I think that's its original name. What you are aiming to do is actually making 2 little X's on either side of your head. The cut comes up short edge, crosses the X long edge, comes down short edge, crosses the X long edge. So if you're a visual person, really try to think about having 2 X's, there we go, 2 X's, one on either side of your head. You will follow that curve, which finger is that? There we go. So you follow it here, cross it. It comes over your head, it comes down, and then you cross it again and come back. And then you can keep going until your arms fall off, which is pretty great. There is a step in it that you may have seen sometimes. I can never quite remember which cut it's on. I'll see if I can't figure it out. I know how to do it, it escapes my memory sometimes. So, at any rate, basic tumbling. This doesn't really have any footwork, though that being said, some people prefer to do it with your basic horse stance where you just have your chest forward and you're kind of twisting, looking at your cuts as they come around. Some people prefer that it has sides, and so you actually twist your feet, do the cut on one side, and then twist back. I will step back there and show you what I mean. So, for some people, it makes sense to have your feet staying still and you just twist your hips and look at the sword as it comes around. For other people, I'm going to go this way. For other people, it makes more sense for them to physically twist their feet, usually by kind of lifting up your toes and turning your heels. It makes more sense for them to do the cut almost like you're in a stance. So I prefer to do it with my feet pointing forward, and I can twist my hips and my shoulders as I feel necessary. I will do them both to show you. So anyway, the basic idea is your sword is going to start down in what would be Vexel if you had a stance. You cut up short edge on this angle, so from almost like a right unterhau, but short edge. So it'll be short edge unterhau, and you're going to cross that with a long edge unterhau. This is where things get tricky with my roof. From here, you're going to flip that sword over your head, so it is now coming down, cut down, away from you. So if I was turned this way, it would be a cut from right to left. So you cut down, and then you cross that, with a long edge cut, and try not to break your lights. So, I'm going to do it with moving my feet because that makes more sense to some people. So, I'm going to face this way first, almost like I'm in a stance, which will be right foot forward because I'm doing short edge cuts. So, you're going to start in Vexel, cut a short edge up, roll around, cut a long edge into ox. From here, you're going to flip around to that side ox and move your feet that direction, to here. So now you're in right ox. You're cutting down on a right angle, right short edge cut down. And you're going to cross that with a left long edge cut. I wonder if this will help. All right, so short edge, long edge, over the head, short edge, long edge, short edge, long edge, short edge, long edge. And it's up to you if you want to move your feet. Just make sure you're turning in the appropriate place. In this case, you turn when the sword is underneath so that you can get your short edge cut. And then you turn back when the sword is overhead so you can go from ox to ox. So you go from, if going from guard to guard helps you, this is how this works. So you're going to start in left plow, cut up. I apologize. I've been doing this wrong. You start in left plow and you cut up on a left short edge underhow, which will make more sense for the axis. So you start in plow, you cut up, you cross it with your long edge underhow, and so now you're in left ox. You're going to take your feet, rotate them over, now you're in right ox. You cut down with a right short edge, cross it with a left long edge, and now you're into plow again. And then from here, you switch plows, you cut up, cut back, switch oxes, cut down, cut back, plow. Plow, cut up, cut across, now you're an ox, come over to ox, cut down, cut in a plow. All right? So that will make you cross the X's if you cut your first short edge cut the correct direction, which in this case will be a left short edge unterhau, so from left to right. And again, you don't have to turn your feet. Some people prefer it. Apparently I needed to make my brain work, but I will do this flowier. Try not to hit anything. All right. And it occurred to me that even if I remembered where the step was, I can't do it in here because I just don't have enough room lengthwise. Do you guys want me to do that one facing away from the camera? Will that help at all? Or was front good enough? Okay, then I'm going to turn around and do it facing away from camera, and you know what, I'm going to do it from hips up so that you can see what my shoulders and my hands are doing, because the feet really are mostly inconsequential. Either you stay still or you don't stay still, but your feet don't actually move, they just kind of pivot. So, I'm going to go back there. See if I can't hit anything. Yeah, that should be good enough. All right. So, start and plow, cut up, cut back, cut across my stone frame. Yes, all right. I hope that helped. Alrighty, so for right now, that's what I've got. That should be a fairly good starting place for flow drills in your house while you get your shoulders back up to speed, or if somebody tags you in. No, Chris, I said things already that I'm not going to do the step because I don't have enough room. And I can't remember, honestly, which step it goes on. Or you just want me to reverse direction. Okay. Fine. Because Christian asked, it does go both directions. It's the same thing backwards. You just start on the other side. So in this case, I'm going to start on the left side in left plow. And again, same thing with the feet. You can leave them still, you can pivot them, it's up to you. Alright, so this time I'm starting from the left. So I'm going to cut up, cut back, come over, cut down, cut down. So short edge up, long edge up, short edge down, long edge down, and over, short edge up, long edge up, short edge down, long edge down. So again, if you are a guard-to-guard kind of person, you're going, and you want to like move your feet, makes your head hurt less, you're going from right side plow, you're cutting up, a right short edge unterhau, cutting up, You're cutting back across it with a long edge unterhau to right ox. You cut over your head into left ox, cut down with the short edge, and cross it with a right oberhau, or right zornhau, into plow. And then over again. Sorry, I'm doing the over the top slowly because I'm terrified I'm going to hit my ceiling. And from behind, left side. Hip. Up. Down. Down. Up. Up. Down. And you can stop and then go the other direction. It helps to stop in plow. So you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, come down, and then you start over by simply doing the short edge cut from this side. So cut, cut, down, down, and then up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. Does that make sense to everyone, including Christian? Alrighty, so does anybody have any questions or drills that they remember me going over but maybe don't remember the name of that you would like to do at home? Going once, going twice. All right. If no one else has any other questions or has any other drills that they want to do, I will say thank you and start getting this thing onto YouTube. I will post it again to the KdF page so that you guys can rewatch it at your leisure. Like the first video, I will probably do call-outs to the different drills so that you can skip around as you so desire. Other than that, be safe. Try not to let your shoulder muscles go super weak like I have doing drills. Be aware that if somebody challenges you to the 100 cut thing, that you could come back to this video and string through a bunch of these drills and really quickly get your 100 cuts. And other than that, I hope to see you guys soon. Hang in there and be safe.